So today's date is April 19th, and usually around this time of year you would think if you live in a snowy place or a state that snows quite a bit, then usually by now it's kind of starting to light up and you don't really see snow until the following winter. But it's Colorado, and Colorado is known to be quite bipolar. So we got snow mid to end of April, and it's going to be snowing later on the week again. So I wanted to take advantage of the snow. I picked up an X-T4 relatively pretty recently. I did a video talking about the reasons why I picked one up, as well as kind of a little unboxing of it. So I'll link that up here. But one of the things I did want to try out with this camera was the super slow motion capabilities of it, the 1080 120 and the 240 frames per second. So, and one of the things that I wanted to shoot in these super slow frame rates was snowfall. There's something about filming snow when it's in super slow motion that has this kind of wow factor that I really enjoy. So I wanted to kind of capture that and try it out and just really see how usable this, just 240 is. I know the 120 on this camera is pretty great, but I know the 240 is kind of eh. But I did hear somebody mention that if you switch the conversion over to 25 frames per second on this camera and shoot up to 200 frames, it actually cleans up quite a bit. The difference between 240 and 200 is, I guess, enough to clean up the image pretty nicely. So I haven't tried it just yet, but I figured since it's going to be snowing, why not go out and shoot for a little bit. It is a pretty cold day, it's pretty windy, so we'll see how long we can get out there and last until we call it quits. But it's currently not snowing just yet. It's supposed to snow here pretty soon. I just hope it starts up before we lose too much light, because the sun has already set. So, but hopefully it'll start snowing soon and we can see what kind of shots we can get. So let's do it. Alright, so it's not snowing nearly as much as I was hoping it would be, I guess. I was hoping for bigger, fluffier flakes, and it's not. It's kind of more like flurries. There's enough to actually get that wow factor with the slow motion snow kind of falling down. So we'll try to make the best of it. I just need just a couple of shots just to kind of really compare the each frame rate, to see which one's cleaner, which one's usable, and go from there. So there's a little local park kind of in this area, so I might get a couple shots here, but then there's kind of a pond / lake just up the street where there's a little coffee shop, so I'll probably get a couple shots out there. I'll put a little sequence together and then we'll compare the shots. Oh, and because it's a little windy outside, it's pretty cold and that wind makes it worse, so I'm probably just going to shoot a couple of these shots from the inside of the car, just because I don't really want to go out and freeze. So I took shelter for a little bit here just to kind of fill you guys in. The snow did thin out a little bit. It's more like flurries just kind of falling down. So it's not the big fluffy, lightly falling big flakes that I was hoping for, but it'll get the job done. There were a couple of scenes that I only shot in the 200 and 240. I did shoot a couple of 120, so we can kind of compare those. But I was kind of in the middle of the road, and I was kind of blocking traffic, so I didn't really want to stay there for too long, switching through all my settings and everything. So yeah, so I mainly have the 200 and the 240, so we can compare those. So I'm going to head back and take a look at those and see what we find out. Okay, so it's been a little bit. I've been messing with this footage and kind of editing the footage you've already seen, and I gotta say, the 200 frames per second is noticeably cleaner than the 240 frames per second. I think it's kind of a little hidden secret. I've only ever heard of one person talk about it. It was a YouTuber by the name of Tim Koning. He made an X-T4 masterclass video and he kind of like low-key just threw that in there. Like, it wasn't really, he didn't even show footage or, you know, or examples or anything. He just mentioned that the 240 was pretty bad, but if you dropped it down to just 200, it cleaned up quite a bit, and it is noticeably different, at least from what I've seen. I noticed specifically in some of the shots in comparison in the bushes, and especially in like the vlogging shot that I did, my beard, and like even like the flannel that I'm wearing, there's way more detail. There's not as much moire or aliasing in the collar of my shirt, and there's just so much more detail. So again, I think this is definitely something more people should be talking about. You know, shooting in high frame rates can definitely be a huge benefit depending on what you're doing. Slowing it down to only 8 times instead of 10 times isn't a huge difference. Even when I was picking these shots, because I was alternating between different frame rates, I often was guessing wrong when I was just trying to eyeball the differences between the 200 and the 240. I would pick the 240 thinking, oh yeah, this is definitely faster. And I don't know, at least to my eyes, at least, just kind of, you know, doing a quick edit and kind of just eyeballing it. So I think definitely if you have an X-T4 and you're trying to improve your 240 frames per second, just drop it down 40 frames to that 200, and you're gonna get substantially slower than the 120 frames per second, and it'll be pretty clean. So that about does it here for this one, guys. I just wanted to make a little quick video kind of messing around with these higher frame rates and just seeing what the camera is really capable of. And I'm glad I was able to actually get a little bit of a snow day out there to kind of have something to really shoot out there. So if you guys did enjoy this video and did get something out of it, definitely hit that like button. It is much appreciated. Subscribe for more Fujifilm content just like this. I do a lot of photo and video stuff on this channel, as well as some tech stuff every now and then. So if that is your jam, definitely consider subscribing. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.